Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about psychopaths and morality.
Whenever people have a discussion about objective morality, psychopaths usually get brought up at some point in time. Many people, such as Dasamericanatheist, have tried to argue that psychopaths somehow disprove objective morality. Unfortunately, there seems to be misunderstanding around what psychopaths are and how they think.
Didn't you make that same mistake in one of your videos?
Actually, I did. See, I used to believe, as Dasamericanatheist argues in his video, that psychopaths have no innate knowledge of morality. But it turns out that is not the case. According to evolutionary psychologist Mark Hauser, new studies show, however, that this conclusion is at least partially wrong. Psychopaths know full well what is right and wrong, but don't care. Their moral knowledge is intact, but their moral emotions are damaged. I was going to go into detail as to why Dasamericanatheist's argument was wrong, but it seems he's already come to that conclusion on his own.
I would be lying if I said that I foresaw my argument for morality being as big of a dud as it was. I knew that there were problems with it when I did it. I just didn't realize how big some of the problems were. I know what I was going for, and I think that the sort of central thesis of it works. I just think that the argument itself was really, really bad.
Even if we were to grant what appears to be the incorrect assumption that psychopaths were unaware of moral obligations, that would still not disprove objective morality. Let's play a clip from one of our older videos that we made before we realized psychopaths did have knowledge of right and wrong.
Alright, so let's go back to sight for a second. We all know that blind people do not disprove the validity of sight. Now, just because they cannot see, it doesn't mean that what we see doesn't exist. Now, if a blind man does not disprove the validity of sight, then a psychopath does not disprove objective morality for exactly the same reasons. Just because humans have moral intuitions, that does not mean that they will be moral, or even that they will believe morality exists. Let's take a look at the eloquent yet disturbing way that psychopath Ted Bundy attempts to justify his actions.
Then I learned that all moral judgments are value judgments, that all value judgments are subjective, and that none can be proved to be either right or wrong. I even read somewhere that the Chief Justice of the United States had written the American Constitution expressed nothing more than collective value judgments. Believe it or not, I figured out what apparently the Chief Justice couldn't figure out for himself. That if the rationality of one value judgment was 0, multiplying it by millions would not make it one whit more rational. Nor is there any reason to obey the law for anyone, like myself, who has the boldness and daring, the strength of character, to throw off its shackles. I discovered that to become truly free, truly unfettered, I had to become truly uninhibited. And I quickly discovered that the greatest obstacle to my freedom, the greatest block and limitation to it, consists in the insupportable value judgment that I was bound to respect the rights of others. I asked myself, who were these others? Other human beings with human rights? Why is it more wrong to kill a human animal than any other animal, a pig, a sheep, or a steer? Is your life more to you than a hog's life to a hog? Why should I be willing to sacrifice my pleasure more for the one than the other? Surely you would not, in this age of scientific enlightenment, declare that God or nature has marked some pleasures as moral or good, and others as immoral or bad. In any case, let me assure you, my dear young lady, there is absolutely no comparison between the pleasure I might take in eating ham and the pleasure I anticipate in raping and murdering you. That is the honest conclusion to which my education has led me, after the most conscientious examination of my spontaneous and uninhibited self.
I particularly find the part interesting where he says, surely you would not, in this age of scientific enlightenment, declare that God or nature has marked some pleasures as moral or good and others as immoral or bad. Ironically, I would claim that both God and nature are necessary for the objective existence of good and evil. We have innate knowledge of moral obligations instilled in us by evolution, and without God's existence, that knowledge would have to be an illusion. But there's simply no good reason to think that it is an illusion.
Even psychopaths, who are usually narcissistic and show a lack of empathy, have a hard time rationalizing away the existence of right and wrong.
I mean, in the eyes of the law, certainly in the eyes of God, you're responsible. To wake up in the morning and realize what I had done, and with a clear mind and all my essential moral and ethical feelings intact at that moment, absolutely horrified that I was capable of doing something like that.